Hey, this is Madhav, and I chose to do The Man with the Twisted Lip, and I have ELA for 5th. The exposition of the story is when Watson went to retrieve Issa Whitney from the opium den. Then there, Watson sees Sherlock in disguise, and the case is presented. The rising action is when Holmes is filling Watson in about the case, and then they work together and investigate the case about Mr. Neville St. Clair's disappearance. And Miss St. Clair recalls her husband being pulled by a force from a window as she was walking. This caused her to worry, and she knew something wasn't right. Hug Boons is a suspect, and yeah. The climax is when they visit the jail and they expose Hug Boon's disguise as he's actually Mr. Neville St. Clair undercover, and they solve the case there, and it was just him trying to make more money. The following action of the story is when Mr. Neville St. Clair confesses and explains why he turned into a beggar, and he did it to make more income to pay for a bill. And when his wife saw him at the window, he panicked and he put on his disguise, and he thought they would search the room, so he hid his belongings and clothes. The resolution of the story was Mr. Neville St. Clair wasn't charged with any crimes, and the police decided to keep it silent as long as he stopped being Hug Boon. 5 short story elements are: the characters are Issa Whitney, Kate Whitney, Mr. Neville St. Clair, also known as Hug Boon, Mrs. St. Clair, Dr. Watson, and Sherlock Holmes. The setting, there were many settings along the story, but so each setting had an effect, and so Dr. Watson's house was visited by a friend, which led him on this case. They found the envelope at Miss St. Clair's house. The police station was where he confessed that about why he was a beggar, and yeah. The genre is mystery because they were trying to solve a case, and it was for the disappearance of Mr. Neville St. Clair. The conflict is also the disappearance of Mr. Neville St. Clair. They were trying to figure out where he went and what happened to him. The point of view was third person, and the story was narrated by Watson. So for forensic elements and deductive conclusions, Holmes saw 421 pennies and 270 halfpennies stuffed in the pockets of Neville St. Clair's coat as that was found. And on the letter, based on the ink darkness, he concluded the blank paper was used, and whoever wrote the address wasn't familiar with it, as the name was written clear in black ink and the rest was in gray ink. He also concluded whoever wrote the letter had been chewing tobacco, as the flap had been gummed. Holmes figured out Neville was facing money problems, and he determined where Mr. Neville St. Clair was and who he was, as he was a goon. Probably saying it wrong, but for the characters, Neville St. Clair was a round character as he changed. The whole story was about him, revolving around him. He was missing. He was good at disguise. And he turned into a beggar for money. And yeah, Sherlock Holmes is an extremely smart detective. Sometimes works undercover. He's the protagonist and solved the case. Miss St. Clair was worried about the disappearance of her husband, and she's Neville's wife, and she saw him forcefully pulled away in a window. And Watson was the narrator of the story. He works with Holmes to solve cases. He's a doctor, and he's married, and he's best friends with Sherlock Holmes, and he's always ready to help him.